All right.
All right.
It when I think of it, was some of the best friendship and relationships come through the trials and tribulations of just absolute crap. And what I'm talking about is the first go around, it was the pandemic, a worldwide pandemic. Yes. All of us are stuck at home and we have nothing to do but to eat crackers all day long. And I gained a little bit of weight, but that's okay.
Didn't we all?
But hey, you know what though? We were fine because we built a little studio. Michelle and I went to a concert. We're like, we should do a show. Put together a little studio and do a podcast outside of your radio career. So let's do it. We did it. Out came a star from all the way from Australia. And who would have thought that these two souls would have met in such a strange and weird time? But we did.
Right.
Come again. A whole, couple years later, she's back, but this time she's in studio. And I want to give a big round of applause for the one and only, all the way from Australia, Jazzy K.
Yeah.
Wow. Freddie.
Jazzy K.
Thank you.
Did you place a bet that we would actually be hanging out with Jazzy K in person when we did the Zoom?
I always hope so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was so excited for this. I just couldn't wait.
Because you know why? I hate Zoom. I hate Zoom because there's such a disconnect.
It's not the same.
You don't feel my energy.
It's not like, personal.
Yeah. But in person, it's like, how are we ever going to afford to? We need a budget so big. Do you know how much it costs to get somebody from
Australia
Sydney to LA? It's like, how are we ever going to do that? But lo and behold, she and her dad, they came, and this is the second time you guys been in LA for the last couple of years, right?
Yes. So we've been coming for the past, I think about 4 or 5 years now.
Okay.
We come every year. We tried to, and then, COVID and then being stuck in Australia didn't help. And we were able to come back in 2022 at the end of the year for a few months. And then I was going to come back in 2023. And then my visa got canceled on the day of my flight, by the way.
No, it was the day of, right?
The day of, the morning of, I'm packed. Like, I have all my outfits ready for LA. Like, I'm ready to go. And then I get an email that I'm not allowed into the country. I was like, oh my God.
How long did it take to get that resolved?
Oh, about 6 months.
Wow.
But then you ended up somewhere else that was pretty awesome.
I did. We ended up, me and my dad, we traveled together when I come to LA for my music, and we were both packed. So he was like to me, we're going to go to Lebanon. And I was like, what? I'm like, I don't think I'm prepared mentally or physically or my suitcase, because I'm definitely not packed for Lebanon. And he was like, no, we're going to Lebanon. I was like, okay, let's go.
It's kind of unique though. That's part of your story. How you kind of blossomed out of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. You kind of blossomed out of not being able to get into the country, but then coming back. And then I think this time around it's just so powerful of a trip. Yeah. It's like you're taking care of so much.
Yeah.
So we talked about the origins of you and how you grew up, and I'm not going to count on anybody looking at the first interview. Let's just do this now that we're here in person, because there's this part where you were working in your dad's restaurant, and I want to talk about that. So you're growing up in Australia. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my dad and his twin brother, my uncle, he's a twin. So they've always owned businesses in Australia. So I grew up where my dad had a car wash, and then he had a gym, and so throughout my from 12 years old, I've been working in those businesses, just either for fun or whatever. It's just to learn, So I started in one of the car wash cafes, and then I worked at one of the gyms and the childcare, but not properly, more just to learn as a kid, things and stuff. And I picked up on a lot. And then by the time he'd opened up a restaurant, I had just finished school. I left school and I was working there full time, Tuesday to Sunday, day and night. Yeah.
Wow. So how old were you when you were working full time? I
was 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old were you when you first started your first full time job?
About 16.
Yeah, I was about 16 too.
Yeah.
I started young. I didn't want to be home. I wanted to be working.
Yeah. I wish my family had businesses though. Yeah, that's very nice.
It is. I did I had jobs outside of my family's business as well, around the same age. I had a job. I worked for a fashion company in Sydney for a little bit. I did. They were an online company that sold, it was almost like Depop, that kind of vibe, that concept. And they had come from Dubai and they were just starting in Australia, and they hired me, and they paid really well. Like, I'll actually never forget that. I was like, oh my God, I'm making so much money right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I stopped that.
Compared to your friends who are
such
making
a
like whatever.
pennies.
Yeah.
Really, I was like, oh my God, okay. But it was that was fun, and I learned a lot from that. And then I worked at KFC. Like, I did a bunch of things. Like, I loved working. I really did. Yeah.
And so your dad opened up a restaurant. How old were you when they opened up the restaurant?
It was when I was 16.
Okay, you were 16 years old.
Yeah.
And you're working there full time.
Yeah.
And you were actually performing there too?
Yes. So I would always say to my dad, like, Dad, take me to LA. I want to be on Disney Channel. Like, growing up, that was my dream. I just wanted to be. The dream. I just wanted to be like Selena Gomez, like Miley Cyrus.
Yeah,
I'm like, why can't I go to LA? And he's like, Jazz, you're not going to LA. I was like, okay. So when I had like finished school, I'd always dreamed of doing music, and I used to like write songs and write stories, but I was never like in the industry or anything like that, And when I started working at the restaurants, my dad's twin, he's a singer. He'd been a wedding singer like for a long time, and he would sing on the weekends. Like, he would take out the wireless mic, and while he was cooking something, he would just start singing to everyone. Like, no stage, nothing like crazy. It was just a family restaurant, and he would just walk around and sing, like, for fun. People would dance. It was really beautiful.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, just literally out of nowhere.
So special.
Yeah. So then my dad was like, Jazz, well, if you want to sing, like, if you're really serious about it, just sing, And I was like, okay. So then I'll be like waitressing, and then he'll have my backing track ready. And then when he feels like it's a good time for me to sing, he'll start playing the music, and I hear it. He's like, Jazz, take the mic.
Wait, so there was no official introduction? It just happened. No. So you just started playing the song?
It was
and then
it was just play, and then.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
So the customers were very surprised.
They
were the ones that weren't regulars.
Exactly. They were very surprised. Majority of people loved it. It was just, it was hard for me, and as for any performer, it would be, because it's like, you don't know what their reaction is going to be. You don't know if anyone's going to care, if anyone's going to listen, but they loved it. Like, they really did. It was a lot of fun, and everyone was very supportive. So, and they loved my uncle sang the most. That was the highlight for sure. Cool. And I was like, I was there too.
So you knew nobody in the industry at all?
No, I didn't grow up in like the music industry. No one in my family was in it. Like, the closest thing was, when my dad had his car wash cafe, a really big radio host in Australia would come with some of his team, and some of that team became friends with my dad, and then he became friends with my dad at that time. But I was very young. I was about I think probably 12 years old around that time. And I dreamed of being a singer. So that inspired me, like, being able to know, like, oh, like, my dad's with Kyle, or like something. I'd be like, oh, like, I can be a singer, like, so it gave me a lot of hope and inspiration, but it's not like something that, sustained until the time where I needed the help.
See, I was DJing at like 13 years old.
Yes.
And I would DJ my friends' weddings and parties and, sweet 16s and all that stuff. That's what I would do.
Wow.
And I think that was the only reason why I had friends. And everybody was like, wow, hey, Freddie, come DJ our party. Come DJ this. Come
I'm
DJ
sure.
this.
I think you've DJ'd a few of mine.
I did. Okay, here's the thing.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And so Jazzy K's met Michelle before, but Michelle was were you homecoming queen?
I was.
You were
no,
homecoming queen.
I believe that. I believe it. I have no doubt.
It's because she's like the politician. She was friends with everybody.
Yeah. Michelle is like one of the nicest people alive.
Aww,
besides Freddie.
That's really sweet. Like, thank you.
That's like, you're just so beautiful.
Thank
you. Yeah.
So you did you have a lot of friends like in high school growing? Were you the popular kid?
No.
Really?
No. Yeah.
Wow.
I wasn't really bullied in school or anything like that. I experienced bullying more when I left school early. And I decided to take on music as a career. I experienced a lot of bullying from people I went to school with. Yeah, but that was because it was maybe easier because I wasn't really there anymore.
What would they say?
Just, really like just silly things, like commenting silly things on my videos of me singing, or like sharing it around, and then I'll find out what they're talking about, like, to each other at school, and laughing at my videos at school and stuff.
Right.
Kids really are mean.
Yeah. So, and it's fine. Like, at the time it hurt me, but at the same time, I always knew that I wanted to do music, and it wasn't in a way where I was like, I think I'm the best singer in the world. That's why I'm going to be like a successful artist. It was like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
So whether I was good or not, it meant nothing to me. Like, it means something, but that wasn't like the thing. So when people would like go after, like, oh, she's not really a good singer, like, it didn't affect me because I was like, that's not like I'll get better, you know, like it's fine. Yeah.
Who would you listen to? Like, what artist would be your big inspiration? You know, growing up, or even just this day.
Growing up, I was always listening to what my older sisters were listening to. So like, it was a lot of, you know, Christina Aguilera, Destiny's Child, Britney Spears, Pussycat Dolls.
Yeah.
Perfect inspirations.
Yeah.
That was like, that was the cool music.
And that was like the pop, like absolute pinnacle. That was the pop pinnacle.
Yes, exactly.
Do you remember when Britney and Jessica and Christina were like fighting for a little while?
Yes.
It was like a thing.
Weren't they part of Disney?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, they were, right?
Like Disney Club, Kids Club or
Yeah,
something.
see why I wanted to be on Disney? Because I was like, if I'm on Disney, then I'll be a successful singer.
A few singers came from Disney.
So many.
What is that feeling like though? For the average person, what is that feeling like inside of you? That, like, you know, there's people who want to be a singer and they want to perform and they want to do their thing, but then, you know, a couple years later, it kind of works out, kind of doesn't, and it fizzles out.
Yeah.
But then there's you and other people who you can't help it, and it's just something inside of you. Explain what does that feel like?
I feel like I've never had a moment where I decided, oh, like I want to do music. You know, there was moments where I doubted myself a lot, and I was like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if this is gonna work. It's too hard or whatever. When I was like leaving high school and figuring out what I wanted to do at that age, but it was always, to me, like that was the only option. There was no other option for me. If there was, like, if I had to think, if I want to get into fashion, like, you know how I worked at the fashion company, I've always loved fashion and stuff.
Right.
Like, I love it. I really do. I have a lot of passion for that kind of stuff. But it wasn't, like, if I had to think about being successful in it and what it takes to be successful in it, I don't care. Like, I'm not like I don't have the drive in me to do that. I don't have the drive in me to go through the hardships of what it takes to be successful in the fashion industry. Or I don't have the passion in me to go through the hardships of, you know, going to school and studying marketing or something. Like, it's just like, I just don't have, if I think about music, it's like, I'll do anything. Like, I will practice, I will rehearse, I will write, every day, I will dance, I will sing. Like, it's like, there's for some reason, beyond me, it's just like, that's it. Like, there's nothing else. Like, it's like a tunnel. Like,
That's what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like when I describe that feeling, I kind of jokingly say, but I kind of mean it when I say, you know, you're still doing radio, you're still doing this, you're still doing that. And
Because it's your passion.
It's in my DNA.
Exactly.
I can't even help it.
Exactly.
It's just who I am, and I love it. I love it.
I think it's definitely you. Every time I hear you talk, I hear you the radio.
I used to call
I hear
Michelle
you on the radio.
when I was a Kiss or 99.1. I say
Both.
I'm gonna say, Michelle, it's Freddie Rivera from 99.1 KG.
I should have saved some of the
We're so goofy.
Oh, that's crazy.
some
I
of the
love it.
voicemails he would leave me every time he calls. Even to this day, he'll call. I don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
This is Freddie Rivera calling for Michelle Zuno, and I listen to it.
See, it's
and
like,
he sounds like he's on the radio.
Love it. It is you.
Yeah, we're goofy.
It is
I know.
Yeah, so goofy.
So you have siblings who one is a makeup artist, right?
Yeah.
So everyone has a little bit of artistry inside their blood, a little bit, right? It's like that's cool. So
It runs in the family.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 2 sisters and 1 brother.
And they all live in Sydney?
Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
What city? I mean, I keep saying Sydney, but
Sydney, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
in
And that's where the
Sydney.
restaurant's at too?
Yes.
And by the way, what kind of restaurant is it?
It's like Italian mixed with a bit of Mediterranean.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's so good.
Somewhere I want to go.
And
Yes.
by the way, if you ever get to meet Jazzy K, before you move on with this interview, Jazzy K comes with a little bit of an amazing package, and I'm talking about her dad, because if you get to meet her dad is the coolest dude you could ever meet, and is he like technically your manager, or is he just your dad? I think
My dad is like, you know, it's so funny because when I would picture myself being an artist or like coming to LA before it was even an option in my life, like I just knew I was gonna come. You know, I would always say like my dad's gonna be with me.
Yeah.
Like I never pictured doing it. Like I just want to go and I want to be free. Like to me, it was always my choice to say, like, Dad, will you do this with me? You know, because being an artist is really hard,
Yes.
you know, and it's really not like, it's so not easy at all. It's a very tough industry and it's a very scary industry. It's a weird industry.
Yeah, you're right.
There's so many
Very weird.
things that are not like, it's not just like studying something and then there's the steps to getting qualifications and this and that. It's so different to all of that. It's like everything that you know is like out the door. There's like no way.
Your dad is also very business minded too, because he's had a lot of multiple businesses.
Exactly. He's very business minded. And he comes in from that business perspective, not of music business, but just of like, he's really good at a lot of things like marketing and people and connections and how to really just like, what's the word? Like navigate your way through without like losing your, like overthinking it, you know? Like don't overthink things. Like it's okay. Like do the show, do this, do that. It's not a big deal. Just do it. Go.
And that's great because a lot of us do overthink by default, and it's hard not to because it's like, you know,
I'm a huge overthinker.
It's like those movies with the 3D animation.
The three of us for sure.
Your mind just kind of, you know, spreads like wildfire.
Exactly.
Well, let's give a shout out to Harry, everybody. Give it up for Harry.
Thanks, Harry.
He's sitting in the back corner.
You know, Harry and I are good friends now. We've known each other for
You guys
so
are
long.
besties. You guys are besties.
So good friends now.
Yeah. So
I'm going to go visit the restaurant.
To answer your question, my dad is not technically my manager. I have a manager here in LA.
Okay.
But he's like my business partner. Like I can't do it without him.
And best friend.
And my bestie.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward now to, okay, you come into LA for the first time and the second time. And what was your experience like in LA? Because you said, of course, we all know the industry is strange and weird and very different from everybody else.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of people have their presumptions about Los Angeles and Hollywood. And, you know, and it's so funny because even tourists, they'll come to Hollywood and they always get let down because it's like such a small strip of stars.
Yeah.
And that's it. Where else are you going to go?
It's so just right here and that's it.
But it's true though. All the artists are here in LA, all of them. And there's a lot. I mean, all the businesses are here. All the labels are here. All the film. What was your first experience like here in LA?
Well, to actually relate this back to my dad's car wash cafe, which everything, you know, comes together eventually. Everything connects. So the radio host that would always come to the car wash, his one person on his team, his name is Max. He became a really good friend of our family and my dad. And he moved to LA and become security for like a lot of really big A-list celebrities here. And he was the only person that we knew in Los Angeles, like one person, you know, that we knew. So growing up, I would always tell him from when I was 12, like, I want to be a singer. He was like, no, you don't. Don't ever go into the music industry. That's the last place that you want to be. I'm like, no, I'm going to be a singer. Like it was like a back and forth all the time. So he definitely gave me the reality of what to expect coming here before coming. So I didn't come like thinking, oh, it's going to be this amazing.
What did he say? Give me an example of like some of these.
You know, he just kind of put that fear into me of like, this is not a good industry. If there's anything else at all that you could do that. Don't do music. Like that's like what he would tell me.
Right.
So knowing that and then hearing like little stories here and there from that are personal to him of like his friends and what they'd been through in the music industry, I was like, you know, it helped me because I would learn and I'd educate myself from it and I'd learn from other people's stories, but it still didn't scare me. Like it didn't stop me from wanting to do it. I was like, no, there's a way, you know? So it wasn't like he was telling me not to do it. He was just protecting me,
of course,
you know?
Yeah.
So coming to LA, I did have that like mindset of like, okay, it's not going to be at this beautiful place of like Hollywood. And it's like, it's, you know, we got to go in and we got to just kind of feel the vibe, see what the industry is like. Does it feel like it's somewhere that I'm meant to be, you know? And that's what we did. Me and my dad came for 2 weeks first and we literally just like went around to different places that had music and live music. We went to open mic nights and I sang at open mic nights and it was like,
that's nice.
yeah, like I did a lot of like the things you do as like an artist coming to LA and there's nothing to do. Like that's where you go, you know? So we did a lot of that and it was so much fun. And we found ourselves like, I feel like we started to feel what the industry was here. And we realized how different it is to Australia and how much more important it is, to be here as an artist that wants to be like an international artist than it is to be in Australia. Like this is like, if you want to do it, you have to be here.
Right.
It's like very simple. And things have changed since then. Don't get me wrong. Like with social media, it has expanded so much since that first year that I came. But still, even till today, when I'm here, it's just so different than being home. Like it for my career.
What do you think of the people of LA? Because I know, when you say when the Americans go to Paris, like, oh, be careful of the Parisians. They can be a little stuck up.
Like how have you been treated? Basically.
I feel like we've been really lucky, and we always meet really good people. We meet a lot of like shitty people as well that just have like bad intentions, or are not the vibe for us that we would want to be around. But I think having like my dad with me and that extra protection protects me from those people, but also it gives me the confidence to say no to things. So that way, like, I don't feel so like I need every single opportunity. It's like, no, I need to think about it. And is this like going to be actually what I want? Or is this, I don't get a good feeling from these people, so I should like stay away from them, even though it seems like such a great opportunity. And then I'll walk the other way, like, and just stay around good people. That's like how we navigate our way through.
See, and that helps though, because he's been around the block and he knows. Even me as a young kid, it's like a machine that can eat you up. Very quickly if you make a wrong turn, if you say this yes to the wrong person, and I know Michelle's son is an aspiring actor, right?
Yeah.
And has any of this has he experienced any kind of what has it been like so far?
He's so young, but he's really brave. Yeah. So I've warned him a lot. Unfortunately, he's older that he doesn't really need me around as much. And he's a boy, so it's different. He's very independent. But when he was younger, I used to have to go with him to a lot of things and, I had to sign any contracts, make any deals, hire any agents, do any of that stuff. And as a parent, you have to be very wary. I'm sure your dad knows. It reminds me of you when you said, I don't want to do anything else. I don't have any passion to do anything else. That's exactly what he says.
Yeah.
Since he could speak, he's never wanted to be anything else but an actor.
Yeah. Wow. I just have goosebumps. It's amazing.
Yeah. I used to doubt it and say, yeah, he'll get over it. He'll grow out of it.
It'll be a phase.
He'll try. It'll be a phase.
Well, I think acting
was never a phase.
Acting is so tough though, because like if all the movies that are out, I feel like they're using the same 4 actors for every movie nowadays. So it's got to be tough for everybody. A lot of other people who are, it's a tough game.
He's waiting for his really big break. I think it's coming soon. And
he does have a look.
Yeah, he's very what we like to call him is racially ambiguous because he can play probably 10 different cultures and he could play any of them. He looks like he can be any of them from any different countries, and he can do accents really, really well.
That's amazing.
So he can pretend he's from anywhere, and I think that is really going to help him.
Wow.
Was there any point when you were here in LA with your dad that something just clicked and said, okay, we're on to something. This is it. We're doing something right.
Yes. There's been a lot of things that have happened where it gives you that, like, I don't think people realize how important their kindness is, and when they express what they feel towards you. Like, even just someone would say, give me the right piece of advice, and that gives me enough ammunition for like the next few months of work. They don't necessarily need to do anything for me. Like, it's not one thing that makes you feel like, oh yeah, this is it. I'm good. Like, I can keep going. It's more just like feeling, okay, this is what I need right now. This is the small step that I need to take. And then when you take it, you have to know that you've taken it. Like, you have to remind yourself, like, this is what I needed and I got that, and that's amazing. So now we keep going, and it's a sign in the right direction. So it's all those little things. Like, it's little baby steps, and then it grows, and then you look back and you're like, oh my God.
What was there a particular moment with a venue or a place or a person that gave you the confidence to say, okay, yes, I am onto something, and yes, this is meant to be. This is it.
Oh my God, that's such a hard question.
She had so many.
I feel like there's so
amateur
many
nights, open mic nights.
There's been so many moments. Really, like, there's been a lot. What is it? Yeah, but that's like, yeah, it was. It's like, there's been so many things I feel like that have been detrimental in my progress. When I look back, and I don't know, I can't pin it on like one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're I know Peppermint wasn't your first performance in LA. What was your first performance in LA?
My first, so it was an open mic nights.
Okay.
That was my first. No, but performing my own music as an artist, it was, I think at the W Hotel. I did a showcase in the lobby. And
that's such a beautiful lobby, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that the one with the big stairway and the?
Yeah.
That's
W is great.
It was crazy because, it's not like it's so crazy to think back because a friend of ours, his name is Freddie, and he used to DJ in the lobby every week. He was like the DJ in the lobby. Not you, Freddie, different Freddie. I think Freddie.
All Freddies are DJs. I mean,
was I drinking?
It wasn't me. Freddie Musk, and he was DJing, and we met him, and we became good friends with him. And when I needed to do like a little like showcase thing, like more of like an industry thing rather than open for followers or anything. And when I needed to do that, he was like, "Let's do it at the lobby. Like he can help me like set it up and stuff." And he helped us so much, like get like a keyboard player. And I can't remember. I think we had a drummer. Did we have a drummer?
Wow.
Yeah, we had a drummer.
That's so cool.
And it was like, and I didn't know anything about performing.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that I sing.
Yeah.
You know, and like I write songs. But I don't know anything else. Like when I think back at like now what I know and what I knew, that it was nothing. I knew nothing. I don't know what I thought I was doing performing because I didn't know anything. But it was people like that like just came in and were like, "Don't worry, like we'll help you out," you know?
Yeah.
And like for nothing. Like they just helped because they cared and they saw something in me. And like I'm saying, there's so many moments, and like that's a moment, you know, for someone to go out of their way to help you, to put together this like showcase for nothing than just like for the love of music and like believing in you.
I love that.
It's such a special thing. And that's why you say like when you meet people in LA, like how did LA treat me? There's been so many good people that we've met along the way that I couldn't have like taken that next step without. And at that showcase, I wouldn't say it was like one of my best performances that I've ever done or like something that I'm super proud of the way that it was. But it was so good in the way that the people that came and that showed up for me, and it was when I had just met my manager, Yamil, and he brought some people as well. Those people till today are the people that have gotten me to even bigger steps of my career, who have watched me grow and watched me from that moment to what I am now as a performer, and like been like, oh my God, like
isn't that crazy
like,
that
changed?
Just one moment like that, as small or big as it may be,
right?
That one simple night of just performing at a lobby of the W Hotel on whatever casual night it was, can turn into something with these kind of relationships that you have with these people who later on help you out, and it's incredible. That's how the business works.
That's what it is. It's like you would never even think like in that moment, nobody could actually help me in that moment. Like there's nothing that they could do, but that's not what it was for. It wasn't for like, hey, come, what can you do for me? You know, but eventually those people, they watch you grow, and if it works that there's a way that they can help, they will, because they've seen your work ethic and they've seen like you grow, and they believe, they come to believe in you. So
it's networking and connections. And it's so important.
And then like without the growth and the hard work, then that means nothing as well.
Right.
You know, it's like it's a both. You have to be ready, and you have to be like the network.
It's there's so many moving parts to this industry, but it's so funny because, you know, Jazzy K is doing the lobby at the W Hotel. And I remember being at the W Hotel. It was like the pregame spot. I'd go and have a couple drinks, and then we'd go across the street to some club or bar. That was the spot. From the W Hotel to the Peppermint Club in Hollywood, or was it LA?
Yeah.
And
it was close to Hollywood. It was like borderline.
Hollywood, borderline.
It's almost like we could have brought like one of those limo buses.
I know.
We had like a little clan of people there, and
you had a good support.
God,
there.
it was what an incredible show that was. I mean, it was the show. It was the energy of the night. Everybody was having a good time. Everybody was, and what a great performance that was, though.
Thank you so much.
I liked it because it was intimate, and we could be right there. We were there alongside your dad. And we were excited to see everybody there, excited to see you perform and then talk to you afterwards and take pictures. And We had a good time.
That was crazy. I'm so happy that you guys came.
Me
It
too.
meant so much to me.
Us too. We
Yeah.
loved being
My
there.
cousin's like, oh, so who's going to be in the show? I said, Jazzy K. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, that's right. We went to go see her after she performed to tell her how great she was doing. And they remember specifically what happened that night. It was such a special night for everybody. It was a special night for me. It was very cool.
Wow.
It was very cool.
The reception was incredible. I don't have to ask you about that, but how did you feel that night? What was going through your mind?
I was so nervous. And I was nervous because it was one of my first times, if I remember correctly, it was one of my first times performing on stage with dancers with me.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a very different kind of show because I had been like in the past few years figuring out, it's okay, my sound and my vibe and what kind of a performer I am and kind of artist I am. And that was a really like big moment for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna go on stage with 2 dancers. I've never done this before, and I'm doing it in LA in front of like the whole music industry.
Yeah, and the dancers were cool. What a good touch. Yeah,
they were so cool, and it was kind of like, if this doesn't go well, then everything I thought I was meant to be doing is wrong. So the fact that it was like went well and it worked, and I didn't look nervous on stage was really good.
No, you killed it. I mean, everything was everything was perfect. I was trying to pull up a YouTube video, but I think it was on my Instagram. It's going to take me too long to find it, but I'm going to post it up on the screen right there.
Yeah.
Producer Ruben was there.
Yes.
Terry Anzaldo was there. T.A., who was the guy behind Alanis Morissette and the Wu-Tang Clan, and Eric Clapton. And he was there. And I don't think you got the chance to meet him, though. But I think hopefully before you leave, I'll try to connect you guys because he's a great guy to know.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, anyway, so Peppermint Club, there's a lot of growth has happened for you.
Yeah.
And I know you still feel the same way about the industry as you felt before.
Yeah.
Do you? Or
what do you mean? Like,
I mean, how do you feel about the industry? I mean, how it's changed. And I mean, are you still excited to be here? And are you still excited to be performing? And
yes, like more than ever now. And the more that I grow as an artist, and with every song I make, every performance I do, I feel like I grow so much and I learn so much as an artist, and it just makes me more hungry to perform more and to get back to it more because it's like it can only get better.
Right.
And that makes me so excited.
And I like that you have a good range of fans because when you did Bratz, you had the younger girl audience, and they were going crazy asking her for autographs. They were so excited, just giving you a hug.
Yeah,
and your connection with them was so good. It was like you were so happy that they were so happy.
Yeah,
and you could tell, and like in your videos and Instagram.
Yeah. That was crazy.
It was like and then when you go and do the Peppermint Club, you had the adult audience.
Yeah.
And we were just as happy to see you.
We were,
we were just as
we were
happy.
buzzing just as the kids were.
We want to hug too.
Yeah,
Yeah, just as much as the kids. So it was a good wide range of audience.
It was like when I first got there, I remember seeing your dad, and I'm like, where's Jazzy K? And she's like, oh, she's in the background. I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right,
because
cool.
I learned.
Tell her we're here. Tell her we're here.
Tell her that Freddie's here. Because I learned, like I said, I learned from every performance, and I learned from an earlier showcase that I did where I was like, me, like I get so excited when people come and show up for me. Like it means the world to me. And even when I see people I love, I get really excited. I get like hyper, like my energy becomes really hyper, and I get like, and then there's like loud music playing, and there's artists on before me, or like there's a DJ on, and I'm like, thank you so much for coming. Oh my God, how's your day been? Blah, blah, blah. Because like that's just, I can't help it. Like I'm not gonna sit there and be quiet, And I was like, I can't do that anymore. Like I need to actually rest before I sing, And that's why I'm like, okay, from now on, before I sing, I'm not going to go into the audience. I'm going to just wait in a quiet area.
Do breathing and relax.
Breathe and be chill. Because otherwise, by the time I walk on stage, I'm going to be dehydrated and I'm going to be
voice is gone.
Exhausted. Yeah. And also my energy is like so that I'm like not in the music.
Right.
I'm not like in the songs, in the stories. Like it's not as like I'm not connected as much as I should be. So that stuff is like, you learn it. Every performance, and you're like, okay, the next one, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to make sure I do that. Like, so I learned that. So that's why I was hiding. I'm like, I'm not going to go in the audience and hug everyone.
But in your journey here in LA and Hollywood, you've met a lot of artists along the way, right? And I don't know if you want to talk about all of them, but who were some of them that you were pretty stoked about meeting?
Oh my God. Hold on, I need to think about it. Yes, please. my God, yeah, Lil Nas.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Lil
Nas
Nas,
X?
Lil Nas X.
Where? Where?
So I met him. It was so crazy. I met him at the Grove, and it was when his song just blew up. Like
Okay.
he was like just like the beginning of it all, you know. And he was like going crazy. He was like blowing up, and I saw him, and he was with his stylist, and I think his siblings or something were with him as well. And I was like, oh my God, that's Lil Nas X. Like I have to say hi. Like I can't not say hi, you know. So I went up to him, and I was like, congratulations on all your success and stuff. And he was so sweet. He was like, oh my God. Like he hugged me. He was like, thank you. I said, he's like, what are you doing? Like, where are you from? Because he heard my accent. I said, I'm from Australia. What are you doing in LA? I'm like, I'm a singer. Like I sing too. You know, and he goes, oh my God, like, what's your, do you have any music out? And I had just released a song, my first song, and it was for anti-bullying. And I had wrote it about bullying.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was like, it has a really good message. And that was like my first, it was the only song I had out. And I wrote it to like a YouTube beat as well. It was like crazy. And I said, well, I have this song, like I wrote it for bullying, and he searched it on iTunes and he bought it.
Oh,
Wow.
that's so nice.
That's very cool.
And so I'm pretty sure like he's the first person that ever bought one of my songs.
Yeah.
Ever. Which is like so iconic. I was like, what?
That was a very cool thing to do.
Isn't that so cool? Like I don't know. That was the nicest thing ever.
Who else have you met? Because there was somebody else that I was trying to think of.
Remind me.
Was it?
Oh, I met Demi Lovato.
You met Demi Lovato?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I met Demi Lovato.
How was that?
Amazing.
What-
It was right before she was performing. And, you know, like I understand, like you need to be in your mental space. It was literally right before her tour. Like she was about to go on stage for her own concert. So I didn't like overdo it. I just, I kind of took the opportunity. I don't always ask for photos, but in the room we were in, like her friends were getting photos with her. So it felt like, I'm not going to talk to her about anything. Like it's not the right time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but it was kind of like, do you want a photo? And I was like, yeah, okay, let's get a photo. And like I said, hi. She was so lovely, but I didn't want to talk too much because it was like right before she performed. So
Got it.
I didn't like want to get too.
Well,
in
Didn't
the
you
way
meet
of
her
that.
too?
I met many times. Demi
Yeah.
Lovato is very cool,
Yeah.
very chill. You know,
So nice.
She felt like one of the homegirls, like really, like just like it was great.
I love that.
I the first time I met her was I think at the Ivy in LA.
Yeah.
She was it was at a Nick Jonas album release party.
I love that.
Yeah, you remember that? And I remember. Yeah, and it was. Okay. The Ivy is such a tiny place, and it was so packed. We were like sardines, we're like moving around, you know.
My
but
God.
she was sweet. I love her. I love Demi Lovato.
Yeah. She's like growing up, that was the goal. Like
Yeah.
Demi Lovato. You know what I mean? Like Demi, Selena, like to meet her was like, I was definitely starstruck.
You know, the one artist that I always get asked about is Ariana Grande because you know it's
Yeah.
always like, oh, how was Ariana Grande? And you know, I guess I went into the to meeting her like, oh God, better watch out, it's Ariana Grande, and she was exactly the opposite.
Oh.
She was like, Ariana Grande has such a playful personality. If you get to know her, like she's like what's the word? She likes to have fun.
I could see
She's
that.
a jokester, man. She's a fun girl.
I think people just
cool.
love to like make things up and just really attack people.
I guess so.
Just for the
Well,
drama.
she does do the camera thing. Like
Yeah.
she'll want to take a selfie herself and approve it. But besides, I mean,
But like, imagine people. Oh my God! Please don't get me started on this conversation. People get so picky about what they post on their own Instagram who are not famous. Imagine your photos are getting seen and picked apart by the entire world. Like people are so fussy about like even just like, you know, their mum taking a photo of them at Christmas. They're like, why are you taking a photo of me? Blah, blah, blah. Like imagine the entire world has to see every photo that ever gets taken of you. There's a chance the whole world will see it and like pick it apart.
Yeah.
You know, it's like as if you're not gonna be like, hey, let me like check that out.
And you got to
make
take a
sure that's
lot
okay.
of photos throughout your career. Everybody wants to. Nobody wants to say hi. Say hi. Hey, how you doing today? How you feeling?
Yeah.
You all right?
How are you
No.
doing? Are you good?
Can I get a photo?
Can I get a photo?
Literally, yeah.
Are you getting used to that yet?
No.
Do you
Do you ever get used to it?
I know. Like, hey, I just want to see how you know how's it going, man? How's your dog doing? You know?
Yeah.
I
You can't even
understand.
eat in a restaurant.
Yeah.
They have a picture. You're like,
Yeah,
eating
exactly.
your
Like,
food
come
or
on, man.
taking a drink.
Yeah.
Everything's mid.
There was one time in Sydney. I was actually at one of my dad's restaurants, and I was there for like a family event. And these girls came up to me, and they didn't even say anything. They just started like pulled their phone out. They didn't even. So I was really confused. I was like, "Do you think I'm my sister? Like, do you know? It's like, do you know who I am?" And they're like, "You're Jazzy K." And I was like, "Okay." Because, my sister's a makeup artist and she has a really big following and a lot of girls like look up to her.
Yeah, she does.
She's amazing. Yeah. Or like my other sister, AMK, she also has like sort of like a cult following for like girls who are inspired by her and love shopping and stuff. So it was just so crazy. Like in that moment, I was like, oh my God, like they didn't even say like anything. They was just like, I was like, am I Ariana Grande?
Yeah. You're getting there. You're almost there.
Am I?
Well, hold on. I'm realizing that the whole family here has very special DNA. Everyone is talented in their own way.
Let me say, I think, a big thing is that our parents, my mom and dad, are both so supportive of us like doing what we love. And that makes such a big difference, So we had the freedom to say, yeah, like actually I kind of want to be a singer or I want to be a makeup artist. Like we had we didn't feel like scared to say that.
That's good.
Whereas if you grow up and like you're scared, I'm sure there's a lot of kids that would have loved to be artists or be in makeup or whatever. And maybe are too scared to say anything to their parents because parents can be really strict. It takes like a special type of person to understand these industries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It does. That's who I was trying to think of. Babyface.
Yeah.
You met Babyface.
Yes, I did.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like a goldfish. In case like I have no like in my brain it deletes files.
You need the reminder.
So yeah.
So much is going on. Yeah, of course, it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
My God. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Babyface.
That's
okay.
Huge. That's
that
awesome.
was crazy.
Crazy.
I went back to the W Hotel. So many of my stories are in the lobby. And I've never stayed there in my life. It's literally just being in the lobby, getting a coffee or something. Anyways, I'm in the lobby of the W Hotel and I was in a very like, I would say sort of like a hard time of being in LA. Like it was a time where things were not going the way they were meant to go in that certain period of time. And it was like, okay, we're back to square one again. That was how it felt, right? Just back to square one. We're going to do like rework everything again. And I was just sitting on my computer inside the lobby and I was like writing a song, I think, or something. I was just thinking of some lyrics. And my dad went outside to FaceTime one of my sisters at home. And as he was outside, I'm not going to make this story too long. As he was outside, he had run into another gentleman that was there and started talking to him. And he was like, oh, you're from Australia. What are you doing here? That's usually like the question. It's like, oh, well, my daughter's a singer, He's like, oh, like, see the group of guys that are there that I'm with. They were like a whole group of guys having this like serious meeting. I was like, yeah. He goes, well, that's like Jamie Foxx's manager and that's this person.
Wow.
They were all like really like important people, I guess, in the music industry.
Right.
So he goes, come out in 5 minutes and I'll introduce your daughter to them. It's like, you never know.
Wow.
And my dad was like, thank you so much. Like, that's amazing. So dad came into me and he's telling me, I'm like, oh my God, okay, like that's really cool.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes later, we go outside and I'm getting introduced, like this is Jazzy, each person, and they were all very nice and intimidating as well. And like one of the guys was like, do you have any music that I can listen to? And that song You Are, the one that I wrote about bullying that Lil Nas downloaded,
yes,
was not out yet. It was just a demo on my phone. And I was like, oh yeah, like I have a song, and I plugged in my headphones and like I played it to him. It was the only thing that I had recorded. Yeah. Like I had nothing else. So he listened to it and he was like, do you have Instagram? Like, yes. He searched up my Instagram. He looks at it and he's like, okay. And he replayed it again and listened one more time.
Wow.
Which I thought was pretty insane.
Yeah.
He listened again and he's like, okay. And he takes the headphones off. He goes, have you ever been to Babyface's studio? I was like, no. And he goes, okay. He's like, I'm going to take you. Like,
I'm
going to take you right now.
gosh.
I was like, my dad goes, listen, he goes, don't mess with my daughter. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And he goes, no. Like when I hear a voice of an angel and I get goosebumps, it's my duty to do this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like
that's
my
so nice.
duty. You know how many people have said that to me?
That doesn't happen. No.
Yeah.
Over here, not really either.
Yeah. So then we're like, okay, like what's the worst that can happen? Let's go. Like we have no idea who these people are, but we go. Yeah. So we're following him. And as we're like following him in the car, like he's in his car, we're following him in ours. And as we're following him, he texts us to our phone and he sends like a long message like, I'm writing this down like to put it on paper or whatever, like in text message, that you don't owe me anything for this. Like I'm doing this because it's my duty to do this and I'm doing it out of my heart that this is what I'm meant to do for you. But like he doesn't want anything for it, you know, because I guess like, yeah, it can get tricky. Like if I go and then sign some sort of deal, maybe he'd be like, oh, well, I did that. Like, you know, so like he was kind of putting
where's my cut? Where's my stuff?
You know, so which was really nice as well. So like, okay, like we went and then we pull up to the studio. And when we walk in, we get introduced to Tony Dixon, who's Babyface's partner in the studio. Okay. That's like what I'm told. Like that's his business partner in the recording studio. So it's a big recording studio. It's like, you know, you go in and he starts showing us around and there's all of the like the millions of sales, like the gold and all
the records on the walls.
All the records. Like all over the walls. There's no more space on the walls for records. Wow. And I'm like, you guys need to build another wall because you have no more wall left. Because
we need Jazzy K's record
like,
on the wall.
Yeah, I'm coming. All that. Anyways, so I was like, this was my first time in like a real studio. Like I had been in studios, like little ones and stuff. But this was my first time looking at like, oh my God, like this is the biggest studio I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And he showed us around. He took us into the big studio and I'm like, crazy.
Were you able to film in there a little bit to take a photo?
I think we filmed a little bit, but we were also like a bit like
a little. You would be reserved.
Like
you don't want to look like a big,
you know,
fangirl.
Like I'm still an artist. I gotta be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Be cool.
I want to be invited back.
I'm used to this, you know. So we're walking around, and then we get to the back of the studio, and like through the hallway and stuff, and we're in the back sort of section, and there's a small studio, like a little one. And he takes us in there, very beautiful, but it's like smaller. The first one was like massive, you know, to me. And there's a gentleman sitting on the couch and he gets up and he says, hello, like dressed up, like really nicely, like stylish suit, like vibe. Ooh, says hi. And then another gentleman walks out of the recording booth, I think it was, and he starts coming to us and he's like a wax figure, like in person, like gorgeous, just like, shiny and dressed in a suit and beautiful. It's like a beautiful human walking towards me. And, you know, an older guy. And he's walking. I'm like, oh my God, like, whoa, this is crazy. And he says, Jazzy, this is Kenny. Kenny, this is Jazzy. Me having no idea.
His name was Kenny.
Yeah.
That Babyface's name is Kenny.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, oh, it's Kenny.
Nice to meet you, Kenny.
Hey, Kenny.
Where's Babyface at?
Yeah. And on top of that,
that's cute.
To add to the drama of it all, he says to me, he says, oh, you're from Australia. I've never performed in Australia and I'm coming there to perform for the first time in March. Yeah, in March, right? Oh my God, like I'm thinking this is a newer artist. Like he's older, but he's just kind of
I would love to see
getting
him
into it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, when you come to Australia, you have to come to my dad's restaurants. And he's like, I would love to come to your dad's restaurant.
But
he's
that's
like,
so
please, Tony, make sure you get their contact so we can come to her father's. I'm like, yeah, like come, you know, we'll take care of you, blah, blah. He's like, okay, cool. Anyways, then what's happening? You know, he's like, oh, show them the song that you played me. It's a gentleman that took us there. He's like, show them the song. I said, okay, I can sing it for you, you know? Because I was a little bit insecure about the beat because I wrote it to a YouTube beat. So being in such a big studio, I was like, I'd rather just sing it. Like, I don't want to I just sang it a cappella.
That's so much better though to sing it live.
You're able to just sing it in front of everybody. Just
the training of singing every weekend at the restaurant, you know, is like, it trains you to just, okay, sing, you know, go.
That is incredible.
Not everybody can do that. That's very impressive, especially around people like that. You're in a record label.
How intimidating.
I know.
It was crazy.
It's like my voice.
That's so brave.
Like, oh, hi, I'm Freddie. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Goodbye.
I was still so nervous, even not knowing that it was Babyface because I'm always like mentally, like I'm in Babyface's studio. Like, I don't know who's listening right now or who I'm with, you know, and I think everyone is important, like not just Babyface. I know, I understand the importance of like everyone, even like the receptionist. I get nervous from them, you know, like.
Well, the receptionist can be a little scary sometimes in LA.
Like, I get nervous from everyone, you know, so I'm still nervous. Like, I know, like I'm not, you know. So I sang for them. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, give us a sample.
No.
Why not? We're live. We're live here.
We only have one listener. It's my dog, General Patton.
General Patton's listening right now.
Woof, woof, woof. Woof, woof. No, so I sang You Are a cappella, and they were like, beautiful song, love your voice. Like, they didn't say too much, but it was very positive, and then they said, thank you so much for coming. We'll stay in contact with you. And then the next day I got an email.
You went back to the W Hotel, what happened?
Oh, yeah. I went back to the W Hotel with our friend. And then he said to the people that he was with in that meeting, he goes, I just took Jazzy to Babyface's studio and she sang to Babyface. And I was like, no, I didn't.
And they're like, you did.
And he goes, no, you did. I'm like, no, I sang to Kenny and Tony.
Oh!
And, and they died. They all started laughing at me.
And they said, oh, yeah, Kenny and Tony.
Oh, they took it well then. That's awesome.
They were probably like, she is adorable.
I was like, what do you, and then I started freaking out because like I met Babyface.
Yeah.
I was like, I met him and I sang to him. Like, am I mentally okay? Obviously not. Like I died. I was so embarrassed.
But that's better maybe that you didn't know. This way your true colors came out.
Like,
it's a cute story. They're gonna remember that.
Such a cute story.
It was so crazy. And then the next day we got an email and they said we would love Babyface would love to have you come record in his studio.
Wow.
So I went in and I wrote a song and we recorded it. It's a beautiful song.
Was he there the second time you walked?
He was around. I
okay.
saw him in the hallways and stuff, but I recorded mainly with Tony while I was there.
Nice.
And then and they all loved the song. The team loved the song. It's beautiful. And I got to sign the wall next to Kehlani.
Oh,
huge flex.
Wow. So cool.
Yeah, because Tony had just gotten the canvas
Yeah.
for his wall in the studio. And he goes, this is like our new canvas that we're getting all the artists to sign. And Kalani had just signed it and it was very empty.
God.
And then I signed like right near her.
Kalani, and then there's Jazzy K right next to it. It's incredible.
I was manifesting.
Yep.
You know?
It was the moment that Jazzy K was in Babyface's studio and she realized I can't walk into any other studio.
It would never be the same.
It'll never
like,
be the same.
Do you know who I am?
That's literally one of the biggest studios and best ones you could ever have gotten
I know.
introduced to.
It was insane. And it was like, how does this happen? Like I was in like the worst place, that I could have been in for what I had planned. And then this happened. And it was like this like saving grace of like, just to give me that push and that motivation. Like I'm doing the right thing.
Yes.
Like this doesn't just happen to people.
No.
You know what I mean? Like there's obviously a reason for this to be happening. And I'm good enough.
It was fate.
Yeah. It was fate for sure.
So now here you're in LA and you've been here for a long time now.
Yeah.
What are your plans? I guess. Well, here's my real question. When is the next show? I just want to know, when is the next show?
Yeah,
That's
when's
a
the
great
next show?
question.
Because I can't help it. I really want to know.
Listen, I did a really big one in Sydney.
That's
before
right.
I
That's
came.
incredible.
Michelle, did you hear about this one?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Tell me.
This show put Peppermint Club on blast.
Really?
This show was the best show of my life. It was so good.
Wow.
It was like amazing. It was an incredible show. It was about 400 people. We sold out, which was amazing. I was I was looking, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my first concert in Sydney, like my first time selling tickets. I'm like, I think like 200 people max, just to be safe. Like, I don't want to overdo it just in case.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be all ages because I know how much like under 18 people love my music as well.
Right.
I was literally going out looking for venues in Sydney that could do all ages. That wasn't like an underground like bar, right? And we stumbled upon this venue and it had fit more people than I wanted because that's like 400 people was a lot. But it was a really sick venue. It was like a tent and it's a traveling tent.
Oh,
but it has a stage. It's like a proper venue, but it's a big like Circus Delay thing that they can kind of like pack up and take to another state.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And I'm like, this is what we need, like something really different and unique so that people will remember,
Mm-hmm.
So we put a lot of effort into that show and we really made it something really special. And I was so lucky that we sold out because I didn't think like I was ready for that yet, But it was really beautiful, and I'm so proud of like how it went.
Congratulations.
Thank
by
you
the way.
I know,
so
that's amazing.
I remember seeing that on Instagram. That's such a big, and then the what is that feeling like? I guess how are you feeling? Is there a certain glow to you? Are you buzzing off of a performance like that?
Yeah, it was like there's no words. I was speechless afterwards, to be honest. Like it was so stressful leading up to it. There were so many things as an independent artist that you do yourself. You know, that people don't really think about. Even that I don't think about, that I put upon myself.
Yeah.
You know? Like I'm not just styling myself, I'm styling all of the dancers.
Okay.
Right.
Where I'm thinking of the whole set list. I had like a whole concept around the whole show. It's like a video game, and you enter the jazzy verse at the beginning, and there's a voice that comes in, and the songs, like what order are they going to go in, and what tells the right story, and how are we going to mix these together, and then we put the show into sections.
So you're like the performer, the music director, the costume designer. You're the creative. I mean, you're kind of everything.
And then
Think of the colors, the design, the theme.
Yeah, and then I was really lucky because I had just shot a music video for my song Jealous, right? And I met two guys that shot the music video. I never met them before, Sean and Adrian, and they're so incredibly talented at videos and lighting and creative things. Like they're geniuses, like they're amazing. And we fell in love with each other and we loved working together, and they just got me like really quickly. So when we were organizing the show and everything, Adrian really wanted to get involved with helping with the lighting. And he came on board and basically did the whole light show for me. Volunteered to like come in. And that's something that I wouldn't have had that level of production lighting wise to like match the music properly. Like it would have just been like, you know, whatever could be. But he really went in and like gave that his heart to match what I had already like put together with the show. So it was like so many people helping along the way. Like even my choreographer, Trinity, she did so much for me along the way, like with rehearsals and everything to help. And like, it was a family like effort to get it together, you know?
Wow.
So
are we starting to look for an apartment, an actual
a
permanent residence here in Los Angeles, or what are we doing? What's the plan here?
I would love to. I love LA so much.
Can we have can we have a housewarming party?
I would love that.
Are we going to be on the list?
Listen, when that time comes, it's going to be very exciting and very special, but not just yet. I think it's really important for me to be here and to be in Australia at the moment.
Yeah.
I think I found like a really good balance, and it's not like I'm not coming back. Like when I leave, the times that I didn't come back soon enough was not in my control.
It wasn't.
It was COVID keeping me stuck in Australia, and then it was my
visa thing.
So like it really wasn't like the flow that we have of coming and going home, I think is actually really great for me. Because when I'm home, I have a really good system around me of like my sisters and my family where we can get a lot of things done in a way that I can't do it when I'm here by myself. Yeah. So like it's like that really good balance.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were talking about manifesting and how things in LA are coming into fruition, and artists that you haven't met yet. I want to throw some names. Like I really want to work with this person. Who is
The
that?
Weeknd.
Oh, imagine a collab.
What do you think of the Weeknd's new song?
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you heard it? I love that 80s feel to it. I really do. It's just like...
He has a lot of 80s feels to his songs. I really like it.
It's so crazy because like I'm not a huge fan of 80s music. I know.
It's not her era.
Okay.
She's like, you old people.
No. It's not that. I get
Well, it was before my time too.
There's a lot of
record.
Okay, let me put it this way. There's a lot of 80s songs from the 80s that I love. But when I hear it in modern music, it's not my favorite thing in the world. Like it's not something like when I hear like 90s or 2000s influences.
That's so cool. Because it's so pop.
Because it's so pop and it's so like what I grew up on, you know?
Yeah.
But I do love, like I love 80s music. I'm just not as passionate about it.
Yeah.
But The Weeknd is not like, it's not because of the music. It is the music, but it's also his voice.
Yeah.
Like it's literally his voice.
It's very distinct too. You
like,
know it's him.
You know it's him. And I feel like we sing from the same place. Like, you know, he's really like a storyteller and he sings from like the inside, his like core. And I feel like I feel him when he sings, if that makes sense. Or like Billie Eilish, like I feel her lyrics when she sings.
It's interesting that you have two of those artists because both of those artists are very unique in a way where they fill a gap where artists like that didn't exist until they came around.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play your song here in the studio. While you're doing that, every guest we have on our show, I want you to do a top 5.
Okay.
So starting from number 5 down, a countdown, right? Your top 5 things that you love about Los Angeles.
Okay.
Can you do that?
I guess.
Okay, so we'll play the song, and then after that, we'll go into Jazzy K's top 5 things she loves about LA. And is there before that anything else that didn't cover?
I do. Can I ask a personal question?
Yeah.
So, not that we stalk your Instagram or anything, but I did notice a very big thing happened to you recently on stage in front of everybody. Can you tell us about your engagement?
Well, I got engaged.
Oh, we were so happy for you.
I know.
What a good
It's so
surprise.
crazy. I know. Talk about being stressed and then being so
course.
relieved that my show is over. And then my boyfriend walking on stage and proposing to me.
No, but I saw your face. You were kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
what are
I
you
was-
doing here on the stage?
I was thinking many things.
I could see it.
I
in your
was
face.
thinking many things. My first initial thought was, what in the world is Mike doing on stage?
Mm-hmm.
Babe, what are you doing? I'm leaving. Like, I'm done.
Cameras
Like,
are off.
let's
Go.
You know, and that was like my first thing. And then I couldn't hear him because I had in-ears on. And
Oh,
like, I didn't
yeah.
know what. And then I heard something like, you know, your visions for life. And I was like, oh, like he's going to give me flowers. That's so sweet. You know, like I thought like,
Yeah,
it was
go
like that.
ahead, babe. Give me my flowers.
Like, you know, he's gonna like bring out a bouquet of flowers, like congratulations, like so cute. And then he starts walking me down the stage. And then at that point, I was like, I fainted. I was like, I fainted. Because if he's about to propose to me, that means that I've collapsed and I'm dreaming. And I'm so embarrassed because now I've just fainted in front of all of my fans.
Yeah.
So you didn't hear anything.
No, I just
So
thought
you
I fainted.
literally thought you fainted.
Yeah, so I was like,
She thought she was in another universe.
So I was in that moment, I was watching myself get proposed to. I wasn't actually getting proposed to.
That's so funny.
I was like, it was like my soul
Wow.
left my body.
Yeah. Wow.
So you didn't even hear anything he said. You just remember it happening.
I was hearing it, but it was like, you know when when you're watching something from the outside and you can like digest, you can like analyze it. So as he was like talking, like I'm just like watching myself and I'm like, Jazz, you have to say yes. Like you're supposed to nod. And I was like, yeah. You know, I felt like I was like talking to myself, like corresponding.
Right.
Yeah.
Like secret messaging to myself. Like just in case you didn't faint and this is really happening, smile and nod, Jazz. Because you look like you just like got seen a ghost or something.
Somebody pinch me.
Literally.
And I'm sure the
really
crowd is
sweet.
just going nuts.
They screamed so
Yeah.
loud. I literally said, you guys did not scream that loud for me. Just performing.
But he comes on stage.
I was
What a
like,
special
rude,
moment.
absolutely disrespectful. I don't agree.
So
Yeah,
how
it
does
was
he
crazy.
feel about your travel to LA all the time?
Well, he's so supportive, and I
good.
really like. I always knew I was going to be a singer, and I met him when I was 17. And
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so we've been together for a really long time. And when we met before he fell in love with me, I said, "Listen, I'm going to be a singer. So if you're going to be a jealous boyfriend,
We
you
can't
can't
have
be
this.
with me. This isn't going to happen."
Yeah,
I was like,
I
I'm
love
going to be
it.
going to LA. I'm going to be working with producers. Just so you know, I was very delusional. This was not an option at that time of my life. Like that was never going to happen.
Right.
Like it wasn't a thing. I was just making it up. I was like, this is what's going to happen. And da, da, da. And he was like, no, like, you know, he was so like, you know, he loves me. Like we have a lot of trust in our relationship.
That's good. Very good.
Which is very important. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get to meet him one day.
Oh yeah,
that'd be cool.
100%.
Well, I told him, I said, I think, 2025, I want to try to make a trek down there to visit.
As
Yeah.
you should.
I would love to be at the restaurant, and there's a, it's a whiskey factory, right? Is it the, yes, I really
Oh,
want to
wow.
take a little.
Of
Yeah.
course,
to that.
you want to go to the
Michelle, hey,
whiskey factory.
Let's play Jazzy K song because
Let's do
we've
it.
never actually played any of our guests' songs in the studio.
Yeah, we've never gotten to do that, so let's do that.